Welcome to the green room. I'm normally the plant of the month girl, but this month there's an extra week in March, so that means a bonus video. I'm going to talk about doing a 3-foot by 5-foot square foot method bed and how to maximize production. You know, when you think about 3-foot by 5-foot, that's about the size of a patio table. But here's the fun part. If you plant thoughtfully and using the square foot gardening method, this tiny space can produce a surprising amount of real food for real meals. So I've oriented the bed. Instead of growing in long rows, we divide it into 15 square feet squares, and each square grows a different crop depending on how much room that plant needs. So let's walk through this little food factory square by square. First up are the tomatoes, because let's be honest, it's why we all got into gardening in the first place. I like to plant a mix of cherry and slicers because the cherries, they come on fast and they just keep going. They're little flavor nuggets and beginner friendly. Then the big ones are good for your BLTs, your burgers, your tomato sandwiches. Just remember to give tomatoes a cage or some kind of vertical support, especially in this small footprint garden. Next, we have the Swiss chard, and you know how much I love my Swiss chard. Just keep pulling the outer leaves for harvests and letting the center grow, and it will go right up to frost. This square holds 2 plants. Chard is fantastic sauteed with garlic and oil, or cut into thin strips and tossed into soups or pasta. And then next up are the beets. We plant 9 beets in each 1-foot square. The beets are one of my favorite crops because it's a bonus cropper. You eat the roots and you eat the leaves. Beet greens are delicious when you saute them, or when they're picked young, mix them into salad. Another trick with beets is succession planting. As you harvest a few roots, you simply drop in a few more seeds into the square. Keeps those harvests coming. Right next to that, we've got bunching onions. The square holds 9 clumps of bunching onions, and these are perfect for small gardens because they don't form big bulbs. You have the option here, harvest 1 or 2 at a time for a recipe, or harvest an entire clump. You also have the option of just harvesting them like green onions. Here's the great part. When you cut them, leave about 1 inch. Let them grow back. You will keep getting the green tops to grow again. And those onion tops are delicious for salads, for omelets, for stir fries, for tacos. Pretty much anything that just needs a little bit of yummy, fresh onion flavor. Next comes the romaine lettuce. This square holds 4 plants, and instead of harvesting the whole head, you simply pick the outer leaves when you need them. That's called cut and come again. This turns 1 plant into weeks of salads. And when they finish up, just reseed it with more lettuce to keep the harvests coming. Let's talk about carrots next. I've dedicated 2 squares, 15 carrots each. That's a total of 30. Carrots are perfect for square foot gardening because they grow straight down and don't take up too much room in the soil. Harvest them for a small sweet snack, or let them grow bigger and roast them. Honey and thyme, roasted carrots equals yum. Next we have the potatoes. 2 squares here as well. 3 plants in each square for a total of 6 plants. In a raised bed, potatoes do really well if you keep adding soil or mulch to the stems to keep them from going green. You won't feed the whole neighborhood, but you'll absolutely get enough for a few great meals. Think roasted garden potatoes, skillet potatoes, fresh potato salad with herbs, and potatoes you grew yourself. They really do taste better. I mean, they taste yum. Now we move into the crops that really start pumping out the food. First up are those bush beans. We've got 1 square of purple bush beans and 1 square of yellow wax beans. The 9 plants in each square are gonna just pump out the food. I chose purple because they're easy to see and you can keep on top of picking. Kids love them because they're magical, don't you know? They start out purple, you cook them, and they turn green. I chose yellow wax beans. Well, hello, because they are the tastiest bean to eat. So here's the final harvest from those 3 wax bean bushes. Bush beans are incredibly productive. Once they start producing, you'll often be harvesting every couple of days. And when 1 square slows down, pull the plants and you can simply plant another round of seeds and keep the harvests going. Fresh beans steamed with butter and a little salt, that's pretty hard to beat. Beans also blanch and freeze with ease for a mid-winter treat. Next up, our herb square. This one I chose 3 different herbs: cilantro, dill, parsley, and thyme. Herbs take up very little space, but they're huge flavor bombs to the meals you prepare with the rest of the veg. Parsley and dill are fantastic in roasted vegetables or potatoes. Cilantro, well, salsa and tacos. And thyme pairs beautifully with carrots, potatoes, and beans. Well, thyme pretty much pairs well with just about anything. It's my favorite herb. A small herb garden goes a long way. Towards the end of the season, you can take what's left over and dehydrate it and then use those herbs all winter long. Finally, we finish up with 2 pepper plants. Peppers love the warm soil of those raised beds, and 2 plants can easily provide a steady harvest for weeks. Slice them fresh into salads, toss them into stir fries, cook them up with onions and tomatoes for fajitas. It's amazing how many meals are going to show up with peppers in them. Now, when you step back and look at the whole bed, something pretty cool happens. In just 15 square feet, a 3x5 bed, you've got tomatoes and peppers and potatoes and carrots and beans and beets and lettuce and onions and chard and fresh herbs. That's the foundation for a lot of yummy meals, all from the garden that's basically the size of a small patio table. And because several of these crops can be reseeded as you harvest them out, like the beets and the carrots and the lettuce and the bunching onions and the bush beans, the beds keep producing instead of finishing all at once. That's the secret to making small gardens incredibly productive. Remember, grow what you eat and eat what you grow.